Mining brand new cryptocurrencies right as they come out is a tried and true strategy for stacking an absolutely insane amount of coins really quickly. And the intention is then of course to hold all of those mined coins until the price goes up and sell it all for a massive profit later. As an example, if you were one of the first people to mine Ethereum when that first came out, a simple 6-card GPU rig at that time was bringing home over 10 ETH a day. And if you were to sell that today, it's the equivalent of making over $1 million a month off of a single 6 GPU mining rig. Now, of course, other than actually managing to find those coins that have the potential to grow like ETH did, there's one big issue we are faced with when mining brand new coins like this, and that is the safety of setting up the wallets for these coins, as usually it requires you to download an unsigned piece of software on your computer and also letting that software connect to the internet. And unfortunately, we've seen it time and time again where a new promising coin just ends up being a ploy to trick people into downloading the wallet software, which ends up just being a piece of malware trying to steal the crypto from other wallets you have installed on your local network or your online banking login or any other kinds of personal details like that. If only there was a way to avoid that risk and still being able to set up wallets for all these brand new coins when they are first launching. Well, all you have to do is just set up a dedicated virtual machine PC where you install each new wallet on its own VM and then hook that PC up on its own separate isolated subnetwork using a dedicated router and use firewall and VLAN settings to block devices on that subnet from accessing your main network. Or, if all of that sounded way above your head, then I've got a much simpler but pretty much just as safe way of doing it. So let's get right into it after a quick word from our sponsor. Coin Mining Central is an online store for ASIC miners, and there's no doubt that right now ASIC mining is by far looking like the most profitable type of mining, and the miners that I'm personally most interested in right now would probably be the Bitmain L7 and E9 Pro, as well as the Jas-Miner X16Q. And what's cool about Coin Mining Central is that they always offer free worldwide express shipping, and I've always felt fully comfortable recommending them to you guys, and here's why. As opposed to most other ASIC vendors that are based overseas, Coin Mining Central is based and run out of England, Europe, where they have to adhere to the very strict regulations for customer support and personal detail protection that we have over here. And of course, all brand new miners come with a full manufacturer warranty as well. And because of this, Coin Mining Central has been a highly trusted ASIC miner store for miners like you and me for over 5 years at this point. They also care about this community, being very active and reachable on social media, and they've also provided loads of exclusive discount codes for you guys that you can use together with the link in the video description to save big on any miner that you want to get. And speaking of prices, I don't know if you've noticed, but ASIC prices have been dropping dramatically these past few months, so right now could be a very good time to stock up on some cheap hardware before the crypto market recovers, especially considering you get the already competitive pricing that Coin Mining Central has, plus the free worldwide shipping, plus the exclusive discount codes that I mentioned. So go check that out today. I'll have all of those discount codes and the exclusive link for you down in the video description. Now, first of all, shout out to Mining King, because he's the first person I ever heard talking about this specific approach of doing all of this. So everyone, please go subscribe to him if you haven't already. I'll link his channel down in the description below. He's an awesome guy and his videos are fantastic. So yeah, definitely worth a subscription. Now, for context, when most new cryptocurrencies first launch, they won't be listed on any exchanges. They won't be supported in any established multi-coin wallets like Exodus or Zelcore, and don't even think of trying to get them set up with something like Ledger or Trezor hardware wallets. Instead, in like 99% of cases, when a coin first comes out, the only way to set up a wallet for it is to download and set up a piece of software called a core wallet, which is an application created and distributed directly by the people behind the actual coin project. And since you need a wallet address for this crypto in order to be able to receive any coins that you mine, we basically have no other choice but to download and install this piece of software if you are wanting to mine it. The problem is that in most cases, we have no idea who is actually behind these coin projects and what their real intentions are. It has no track record proving it to be legitimate, and if you're wanting to jump on a bunch of new coins as and when they first come out, all it takes is for one of them to be sketchy in order to put your whole crypto fortune at risk. So let's now talk about the two main risks involved when downloading any piece of software that we can't say for 100% sure that we trust. The first risk, of course, being if we download it on a device where we do, well, basically anything else, like keep any sort of personal files, information or software, or use it to do our online banking, or even for storing any other crypto wallets. The risk then being that this potentially unsafe software can then easily access all of these other files as they are on the same device. And it can then do stuff like hack your other crypto wallets and steal your coins, keylog your online banking details, or just in general access any and everything you have stored on that device, or track everything you do on it. Getting around this threat is fairly easy though, as all you have to do is install these potentially sketchy crypto wallets on their own dedicated device. Optimally, just one wallet per device to really make sure each wallet you install is completely isolated and won't even be able to touch any other crypto wallets. Unfortunately, that isn't enough, as these wallets do need internet access in order to read the blockchain and receive and later send your coins when you are eventually wanting to sell them. And that brings us to the second threat, which is that even if you install these wallets on their own separate device with nothing else on it, as soon as you connect that device to your Ethernet or Wi-Fi, you are then potentially giving that sketchy software free access to spread to all other devices on your network. So we need to not only physically separate these wallets by installing them on their own device, but we also need to separate them on a network level to make sure they can't access any of your other devices. So let's get into it, starting with the actual device you're gonna want to set up for each wallet. Now, while some of these core wallets are available on other platforms, without fail they are always available to be installed on regular Windows PCs. So, as for setting up your device, to keep things as flexible as possible, I'd recommend getting a Windows PC set up for this purpose. Hopefully all of you watching are experienced enough that you know how to set up a basic PC and install Windows on it. And if not, don't worry, because I do have a sort of video guide for that, so I guess I'll link that down in the video description. Now, this Windows PC can be basically any old junk. Some old laptop you're not using anymore, or even better, and what I've done in my case is I just slapped together some old components I had lying around from old mining rigs. This is just some old budget motherboard, a super low-end CPU with the stock cooler, and just one single stick of RAM, plugged into an old bronze-rated PSU that I can't even remember where I got it from. Yeah, I'm really talking like bare minimum for just being able to run Windows is really all you need here. And I'd really recommend just seeing what you might have available already at home before going out and buying anything just for this purpose. Whatever you have lying around at home is probably good enough. Then slap in an SSD or even an HDD, install Windows, and you have a good base build for installing a wallet. Or maybe even two on the same drive if you're, feeling adventurous. But what if you're wanting to do this for many new coins? Because we just talked about how installing multiple wallets on the same device is a bad idea. And of course, building a whole new PC for each wallet isn't really practical. Well, most of you are probably already seeing where I'm going with this, but we of course don't need a whole new PC for each wallet, we just need a separate drive for each wallet. Now, you can either go out and buy a stack of cheap 120 gig SSDs off of Amazon, I guess I'll link some down in the video description, or if you're anything like me, you already have a massive stash of them from just building a crap ton of mining rigs for the past few years. And most older laptops actually use these styles of SSDs too, so this should work if you're using a laptop as well. So, on each of these drives you need to install its own copy of Windows, after which you can then download and install the wallet you want to run on that particular drive. And of course, I'm going to show you how we'll be able to connect them to the internet in just a moment. First, we just need to talk a bit about our procedure for switching between these different SSDs within our wallet rig. Because the last thing we want is to go through all of this hassle of setting up a bunch of different SSDs with their own Windows install and wallet for them to just cross-contaminate and infect each other and have all that work be for nothing basically. So, step one is to only ever have one single drive plugged into your PC at once. And when you want to switch, power your PC fully off, turn off your power supply or unplug your laptop and take out the battery. Then unplug the first drive, and after that you might also want to take a few extra steps just in case, like reseating your RAM and clearing the CMOS memory. You can just Google how to do that if you're unsure, it's a super simple process. Once that's done, plug in the next drive you are wanting to access and boot the computer like normal. And if you follow that procedure every time you want to access a different wallet, or want to set up a new wallet, you should be safe, and each wallet should then be in its own little bubble, unable to infect anything else if it turns out to be malicious. Well, as long as you also connect to the internet in a certain way, which is what we'll talk about next. Of course, we can't download, set up or use these wallets if they can't access the internet. And as we talked about, as soon as we let these core wallets access the internet through any network, we are immediately putting all other devices on that network at risk. So we're going to need to get this wallet rig set up on its own isolated network somehow. And as I mentioned in the intro, you can do that by jumping through a bunch of hoops, buying a separate router, creating a subnet, and so on. Or, if you're not a networking expert, you can just get something like this: a 4G USB dongle and a prepaid SIM card mobile internet contract thing. So, instead of connecting this new wallet rig that we just set up to your home network through Ethernet or Wi-Fi, you're just hooking it up to the internet using its own little 4G mobile connection, completely separate from anything else. These little USB dongles can be found for pretty cheap online. I'll link this specific one down in the video description below, but I'm sure any you can find is probably good enough. And you might even have one lying around at home. Just make sure the one you end up using for this is only ever used for this new wallet rig that we built and nothing else. After that, just get some sort of SIM card or mobile contract or whatever you need that's available to you in your country. It'll be a bit different in different parts of the world, I'm sure. Main point here is you'd probably want to get something that is separate from any actual SIM card or mobile plan you're currently using. More than anything, just for peace of mind that this dongle and the contract or SIM it's using is completely separate from anything else you have. Now, when you first set up a new wallet, it usually needs to download the whole blockchain for that coin to sync, which can be a quite big chunk of data all at once. And then each time you want to resync the wallet, that's going to be another somewhat big chunk of data again. So based on that, and depending on what's available to you, you might need to do some research to find out what will be the most economical option for you in terms of just SIM card or contract or whatever. For example, what I got was a prepaid SIM card that lets me buy these, $4 add-ons, which give me unlimited data for 24 hours. So, one day every few months, I just buy one of these one-day add-ons, resync all the wallets on my different SSDs, and then just turn the rig off until I feel it's time for another sync a few months later, and then just buy another one of these one-day add-ons for $4 and repeat the process. But again, have a look around and see what might be the best option available to you. Over here on this screen, I'll put my video guide on finding new coins super early and other tips for spec mining recently launched coins successfully. And below that, I'll put my video on how to calculate what coin price any crypto could potentially reach in the future. So, I'll see you there. Thanks for watching.